Hello and welcome to another Tale from the Tanks. Today I want to show you how I do my maintenance on the largest tank in the house, which isn't that large at all. It's about 180 liters or so. But for me, it's the most elaborate maintenance effort. And I thought there may be for you, if you're a beginner or someone who just wants to see how someone else is doing their tank maintenance, there might be something in it in terms of particular tools I use or particular approaches I have to maintaining a canister filter or cleaning the tank and other things. So I hope you enjoy this. Let's dive in. So this is the Aquarium Brilliance. It's about 170 liter tank, and I do this kind of cleaning about once a month. These are the tools I'll be using in the equipment. I found it particularly useful to use a picnic rug under all of it because there will be always spills and drops and everything, and the picnic rug with its layer of plastic keeps it from damaging the floorboards or carpet or whatever you might have underneath it. So first here I take off the section of the lid where I want to access the tank, and then I switch off the heater and the pump. And then I have this device to suck out the mulch and drain the water, which has a little pump on it as well to get the flow going. That means I don't have to suck it with my mouth, which could be getting a bit yucky if you get it too much. So I've always found this useful. It's also got a very soft sort of silicone hose to it. It doesn't spin around, and it's got a little clamp which clamps into the side of the bucket. I put a link of this device into the description. I found this quite useful. Flow rate is maybe not as strong as you might get from obviously a house with a bigger diameter, but for me, while I'm doing other things, I can let this run, and it works quite well. So now I'm shutting down the filter at the top. That's an Oase Thermomaster 250. I'm going to review that in a separate video at some stage. Suffice to say, it's what I can see the best external filter out there. It comes in various sizes. So I take off the inlet and outlet hoses, shut this all off from the filter, and open the pre-filter compartment. And I'm just taking out the pre-filter now, trying to prevent the dribbles down the side of the filter. I have the filter sitting in its own tray, and in that tray I also have a leak detector. You will see me later checking for leaks and things like that. Always can happen that something doesn't quite close properly, and had it happened to me once. And before I had the leak detector, and I only became aware of it when there was a puddle around the cabinet, and of course, and it was all hands on deck trying to deal with that. So now I have the leak detector, and it's sitting in its little tray, and that will prevent any troubles. So now I'm cleaning the pre-filter in the first bucket of the drained aquarium water. Meanwhile, I just put that drain hose up there for the next bucket to be ready. Yes, pre-filter sponges. So this is a monthly clean at the moment, so I do the pre-filter as well as the main filter. Every fortnight I do a pre-filter clean. That's one of the really brilliant features of this particular external filter, that it has this pre-filter which you can take out without doing anything else to the filter. And I could probably get away with having longer clean intervals for the main filter based on only ever cleaning the pre-filter out every 2 weeks or so. But it's so quick and easy to do. It's really brilliant. So there's different schools of thoughts whether you should use your aquarium water or whether you can do it under tap water. I just played safe. I always use the aquarium water to clean filters out. Don't take this stuff to the sink and run chlorinated water over it. It certainly, I believe, helps preserve the bacteria colonies which help with keeping the water conditions in the tank good. And the used water I always pour out in the garden. It's brilliant fertilizer. I found for various garden plants, so why waste it, right? And now we're ready to do the second bucket. So the overall volume I take out is about 30 liters on a volume roughly 170 liter tank. I do that every fortnight. The water changes, and I have been doing that for a few years, and that seems to be totally adequate. In the beginning, I measured the water conditions every week to see how it over time builds up the nitrate, and so I landed on this particular frequency of water changes and filter cleans. Here I'm doing more sucking up mulch and debris. I have a bit of a cleaning crew in there consisting of pygmy and ottos and plenty of shrimp, so I find they keep it nice and tidy really nicely. But in that corner where I'm cleaning now, this is normally where a bit more of the debris gathers, and so I spend a bit of time cleaning it all out there. On the left hand side of the tank, which is closer to the corner where the water gets sucked out of the tank into the external filter, there's less buildup. While this is going on, I'm getting ready to get the main filter out of the tank. Make sure I don't get too many dribbles in the cabinet. With this cabinet, it's reasonably easy to get to the filter. The filter obviously being quite heavy, filled with water as it is at this stage. So first the heater comes out, which is integrated into the external filter for this particular model. You get in a safe place so don't break it. And it's cleaning it off a little bit as well. Sometimes there can be a bit of buildup on the heater itself. I'm just scraping that off. So after the second bucket has been drained out of the tank, I'm just gonna reassemble the pre-filter and put that one aside for later. And then rearrange a bit to get ready to take the main filter out and apart. Again, I will use the used tank water to clean out the main filter sponges and other materials. So in this particular size filter I have 4 different compartments, and on top I always keep a little bucket with Purigen, which I will later refresh. And then there's, I think, 2 different coarse sponges and 1 layer of ceramic materials and 1 layer of these floating bioball things. And as I take them out, I put the different parts in reverse order next to me, as you can see, so I put them back in the right order again and in the right position when the cleaning is finished. Those bioballs, which are just little plastic orbs with holes in them, they have the unfortunate habit of floating around in this water from the filter, so I always need to scoop them out separately before I go and empty out the filter bucket, otherwise I flush them. And another round of fertilizer. Now it's time to drain the final bucket. Always reminds me of that Europe rock song, which I unfortunately can't include here, which I really love to do, but copyright, right? Anyway, so we're draining the final bucket, and meanwhile I take out the filter bucket with the remaining water in there. Guess where that goes? Now it's already time to reassemble the filter. All the bits in the order I took them out go back in. Always need to make sure that they're sitting properly in there. That got me into trouble the one time I had the leak after I put it back together, because while they sit positive when you line them up properly, it's not always obvious. Most of the time you will have trouble getting the lid back on, but on one occasion I had a bit of an angle to one of the layers, and the lid did kind of sort of fit, and the clamps shut and everything else, and I still ended up with a leak. So the water removing device can now be gone. And then it's on to refreshing the Purigen. I like to run Purigen in all of my tanks. I find it really helps keeping the water clear and keeping nitrates at bay and things like that. I always use that. And I don't chemically refresh it. There is a method, and you'll find YouTube videos about that, where you use bleach to refresh the purigen that I'm now taking out here and discard it. As you can see, it's all really, really dark brown. The new purigen is sort of a pale yellowish color, and so you know when it's exhausted, when it takes on this dark color. And there's a way of using bleach, but I don't do that. I had one bad experience, which was the first time I saw fish vomit. It was quite interesting. When I put the refreshed purigen, that chemical refreshed bleach treated one, back into the tank, and it didn't go well. I didn't have any fish that died from it, but it certainly made them unwell. So having learned that, I just always use new purigen and discard of the old one. I try to avoid pouring the purigen granules down the drain, so I put it in a separate bag and discard it in the waste. And once I have the new purigen in its bag, it goes on top of the filter compartment. And now it's just a matter of reassembling the filter, making sure all the seals are clean and fit it all together. And readjusting my leak detector. And in goes the filter. And the pre-filter gets inserted again. And that's that bit done. The remaining dirty water goes nowhere. And then we come to the refilling part. Now all that's left before we can refill the tank is to clean the glass from the inside. I use a classic razor blade on a stick approach for this one. That has served me well over the years. This tank, with the cleaning crew being as good as they are, I don't really have to do a lot of work. There's some kind of algae which is sort of little dark spots which are really, really solid, and these are scrape off. They build up for about a 2-week period, but not in a major way. So it's just about keeping it pristine, because that tank lives in the living room and it's kind of the showpiece of my tanks. So certainly want to make sure that this looks presentable at all times. Sometimes at this stage I also cut back the plants a little bit and things like that. On this occasion it just wasn't necessary. Now what I'm doing is I'm priming the filter again after it was completely empty, because I need to make sure it's filling with water again before I can engage the pump. And while the water is slowly filling into the canister filter again, I get ready to refill the tank with fresh water. Fresh water is of course treated with dechlorinator, and to refill I actually use a little pump, and that is really easy to set up. The other thing I do is I don't hold buckets and change buckets over with this pump. I leave the pump draining the bucket, as you can see, and when it's halfway down or 3/4 down, I come with the next refill, and that has been proven to be the most efficient way of doing this. you can see it even for a large-ish tank like this. It's not a big drama to use buckets for the exercise. I've been thinking whether I should use one of those systems where you can run long hoses into the next sink, or and have a hose on the tap there to refill and things like that. I figured the risk of something going wrong with those hoses and spilling water everywhere is not worth the trouble. And this method works. Wouldn't want to do it on a tank any bigger than this, mind, because then it gets a bit annoying with into like too many buckets around. And I always make sure that the hose that I use to fill the tank with is clamped to the side of the tank, so it can't be slipping off and falling out while I'm not watching it. Once that's all done, I can take all our bits and pieces away. And then it's just a matter of switching heater and pump back on, making sure that there's no leaks. And I'm always, based on the experience I had, quite conscientious to do that. Bit of a tidy up, any droplets, any dirt on the top of the tank, and we're ready. So overall, this takes about an hour or so, no big drama at all. That's the big tank cleanup every 4 weeks. Can probably stretch it a bit longer, and I will stretch it in my upcoming holiday where I'm going to be away from the tank for about 5 weeks. I'll take some precautions for that I talk about in a different video. If you like this one, please like and subscribe, and I link the other video with the holiday preparations here, and there will be another video of that later on as well. And that will be another tale from the tank.